into that top 16, but only 2 maps are done with 6 more to go, and I am so excited to throw it to none other than Katie and Dandro for your first time casting together in the 75K. Sadie Hawkins.
Tiff, thank you so much. Let's jump right into things. Dandro, this is map 3. Selly and Shifty and Swish'em and Almond are the only 2 teams capable of getting a second map win in this portion of the tournament, as they won maps 1 and 2 respectively. Of course, here's Swish on your screen, calm, cool, and collected. They played the end of map 2 so well. Dandro, you've got to imagine that they're looking for a hot start in map 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really big squad of momentum. I know I've been able to watch Swift for a very long time, and the one thing that I love about her is that she does kind of, in these tournaments, if she can kind of get the ball rolling, she'll start playing extremely confident, right? And that's kind of the number one thing you want. And I love what they're doing right here, Katie, right? Almond flies down on in, right? Wants to be able to get on the ground and just be able to kind of get some guns and potentially push a team. And Swish is just playing up in the air, trying to gain some info for the squad, saying, all right, where is everybody? And you can see it's actually going to split a little bit away from Almond as well to be able to land in here, grab some of this gear, and be able to start moving. So they're kind of splitting up, maybe trying to get that cash, get a really fast loadout, and then come together and be able to start flying around the map. I got to imagine this is what led to their success in that last map.
Yeah, and a split this early on is not a bad idea, right? Those resurgence timers are very quick. You are going to essentially guarantee that you can't be taken out both at the same time unless some very unfortunate timing occurs. But Almond was in at least one gunfight off screen, but it's going to be Swish. Spots one by the bushes, goes for the second, tags on armor for either, but doesn't find a break. Also one up top, potentially, I believe, a third party looking down on those players she was shooting at. But let's take a look now at Merked by a skirt. No eliminations just yet, but her and Booyah looking like they might know someone is nearby.
Yeah, you can see Mark doesn't have the armor plates there, so maybe going to play a little bit of a bait for Booyah, which I think this is a great play if they could do it, but Booyah's actually getting tagged up from a different angle. So Merk going to be able to try and maybe slide on out. I do like this squad as well, right? I mean, obviously Booyah, fantastic content creator, right, as part of the Nuke squad, but is actually, I think, probably the best player on the Nuke squad, the most mechanically gifted, and I love seeing him kind of get involved in some of these tournaments, especially one like this, which kind of relies on gun skill, relies on you being able just to kind of run around the map and be able to kind of take these fights. So hopefully they can make it happen. But there's somebody on the stairs here, and that's Tommy, who's actually going to get straight up laid out by Booyah. And hopefully Brittany is able to play her life, because you do not want to see them go out this early.
Not at all. That will be disastrous for them. They were in 3rd after map 1. They were 5th after map 2. And with Tommy taken out this early, assuming Brittany was anywhere nearby, she's going to want to get out of dodge, and that's exactly where she is. She gets downed. I think Tommy did come back, perhaps, but they're going to have to try and stabilize themselves, as Peachy finds herself in a similar situation as Ba gets taken down just moments before by none other than Kaylee.
We talked about it, right, when we were talking about Swish and Almond, that you can kind of play this split strat and you can find a lot of success in it, but you have to be able to very quickly make those calls when one of your teammates goes down to just stay alive and play your life. Now, early on in these maps, it's less of an issue, right? You have like a 5-second, I think, resurgence timer, but when you go down a lot, remember, that's exponentially going up as you kind of get taken out more and more and more. So you have to be careful kind of playing this strategy, because you could get into a moment where, oh, one of your teammates goes down, you're waiting 30 seconds for them to come back on in, and you're just ratted up trying to hold the corner, trying to do whatever you can to stay alive. And well, sometimes you can just get pushed and get absolutely slammed, and well, you're out of the map. So got to be a little bit careful there, right? You got to be able to play aggressive, but also understand your respawn timers and understand that, you know, maybe you don't need to push this team.
Yeah, having that situational awareness and being able to make those heads up decisions on where you rotate, as you just said, what fights you push, so crucial, and really a separating difference between teams consistently at the top of the leaderboard and teams that might be struggling a bit more is that game sense. Peachy now taking a look over the buildings, does spot one, but we're going to swing back as Tommy is still alive. You have to assume Brittany back on the map as well, as a kill happens to Queen's duo off screen, but the redeploy there back into action. If you're going to redeploy at any point, do it now. As you said, you don't have to sit somewhere for 30+ seconds hoping that no one stumbles upon you, but one is tagged. Trying to get eyes on them, but you got to be careful. Get spotted out from the buildings to the right, and Queen will be forced to reassess as a mortar strike is heading her way.
Yeah, I want to be able to gain that height to look down on over. This buy station was nearby. They were trying to be able to hold it, but unfortunately, it's going to get pushed off. Back on over to Sunday and Destroy. They were actually having themselves a fantastic earlier map, but then it was a rogue precision airstrike that came in map number 1 that ended it. They were kind of feeling very good. You saw them kind of running around the map together, finding a lot of successes. An occupation scan does come in, so this will kind of hold up some of these teams, right? Obviously, they got to wait. When this thing clicks on down, you have to be prone. You can't be moving. Otherwise, you are going to show up on a map. And Katie, in an area like this, you do not want to be showing up on a map with some of these squads looking to hunt you down.
Yeah, no thank you. You can sit under the water as Sunday was to avoid that as the timer runs out. And yeah, you do not want your location given up under any circumstances as they go ahead and pop their own UAV, surrounded on a few sides by some of those red dots, but no one particularly close just yet. So we swing back to Queen, still looking for that first elimination, but the full squad has stabilized for the time being, although I think I'm curious to know what their rotation's going to end up being, because we do see at least one player nearby, and of course we have players across that were in those smokes. So the decision making here, as they are in circle, will be sort of interesting. Or do they simply just stay put?
Yeah, I think actually this is kind of a solid idea, just to stay put. You have enough space to kind of just maneuver around here, right? You can take multiple different angles. There's also a lot of chests here, right? So we know in Resurgence, these chests, you can kind of, they respawn, if you will, to be able to kind of get more loot out of them. So if you're feeling confident and fine with what you have, you can just kind of sit here, kind of keep looting these chests over and over, get your ammo, get some cash, get whatever you need to be able to kind of just hold it on down. Because you can see, they don't have to move here yet. They have a zip if they need to, right? I wouldn't be surprised if them just kind of hold it on down and get there. One thing I want to note here, right? We were kind of talking about it. We saw that UAV pop off. Not a lot of dots popped up on it, Katie. Resolute is banned in today's tournament, which means you got to rely on either high alert or ghost. So I would not be surprised to see a lot of players are rocking ghost. That way, in that exact moment where a UAV gets popped, you might be able to catch somebody by surprise because they're not aware that you're kind of lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, honestly, is there are a lot of bans in the Resurgence portion of this. Things like snipers, resolute, as you mentioned. But also we have seen a lot of high alert, which can be, as we're saying here, exceptionally useful in those late stage situations. Shots goes out, cracks the armor, flies in with a Semtex and the smoke for cover. Looking for one of her own, but the mortar will force the movement and the chase is on to figure out where exactly this player just scrambled away to. Sunday not willing to let them out of their sights as we swing over to see what Kens has been up to. Kens, one of the best female Warzone players around, and looking to get one of those first place wins that she's seen out of Selly and Swisham.
Trying to take down this player in the water. Was getting attacked from a couple of different angles, and well, Ken's able to find one. Thankfully does have the self-revive. FIFA's on the other side of the water. You can see the UAV pings out, knows where they are. Thankfully, Kens will be able to pop that self-revive, get the full, and now be able to help FIFA kill. You can see playing that edge of zone as FIFA's moving on. Oh, but FIFA goes down. Thankfully does have their own self-revive, but Kens, you got to play this perfect. You cannot let FIFA get fooled. Otherwise, you're going to be in a sticky situation. Looks like thankfully be able to get out. Still going to try to hold this player out at the edge gas.
Beautiful cover fire, but FIFA not out of the woods yet. Ken's peppering the water, the bridge, and everywhere in between to give him the time to stabilize. And now they will be able to regroup, get back together. So a nice recovery out of them as we get toward the middle, later stages of this map. About a minute left on Circle 3's close, and a fire sale could provide some very good opportunities to teams down on their luck, Sandro, but we know that it's always going to be a bit of a scary proposition to go toward any buy station in a Resurgence during a fire sale.
Any of these buy stations, you ever see one of those little zappy things, you know, in the summer that you use to attract mosquitoes? That's what you're going to see right here. It's mosquitoes flying at a buy station, and all of these teams are just going to be zapping them out of the air, zapping as they try and get their teammate back in on it. It is a very risky situation to try and go for one of these buys, especially in a lobby like this, in a Resurgence type lobby. But fire sale, sometimes the risk is worth the reward, right? You get the teammate back on in, they can just float, maybe get some of those more placements up there, get a little bit more on the multiplier side. I don't hate it if maybe you throw your life away to go for it, but the situation has to be pretty dire for you to be able to do that. Otherwise, maybe you have a buy free and clear. Hey, you can get a lot of, you know, kind of solutions to your problems there. Get a UAV, get your self-revives, get your munitions and armor boxes, all for pretty cheap. As we can see, that's exactly what, of course, our team here is doing, as they're looking to try and make a rotation in as they hit the zip.
And that's a long one. They're going to have to hope no one is currently looking up, because you do see that team underneath them. They're hoping they can take this high ground, maybe turn, pivot, and pick them off. But they were able to get the fire sale, and they spot at least one out by the water. Lenzo with a down onto Asta and onto Oak Boys. So a nice 2 downs. We'll see if we can get the cleanup. It does come in there, at least onto Oak Boys. So great job from them so far, but disaster strikes. Bernadette down on top. The UAV goes out for cover, and it will be the self-revive to help her stabilize, but only for so long, as she does get taken out moments later.
That was Queen Shadow's teammate just flying on in, being able to get that full. This is a squad that we were talking about, right? We were looking at the leaderboard. We said they kind of need to start making some moves. Maybe map number 3 could be it, Katie, because we're looking at Smixy and Scummin here. Smixy already with 2. Curious to see how many Scummin has. They're trying to be able to move her on through here. They're going to find Lenzo. Bernadette did just get taken out on the roof as well. So maybe a little bit of teamwork finally coming in for Smixy and Scummin. But as I say that, a Semtex is going to come on through. Scummin's going to have to pop the self-revive. Smixy looking up over the top, potentially looking to stop this push on in. Gonna be able to find one, but gets taken out instead. Can they stay alive? It does not look like it, as Queen Shadows is there from behind.
Queen and Scummin going neck and neck now, both taking out each other's teammates. And Queen, you've got to be careful, because that resurgence is disabled. There's no timer you have to wait out. You must buy them back. That's exactly what she's able to do. A clash of titans in that building, and Queen able to get her team back into action. But the tough point is that you're so late into the game. Can you get to your items and actually get everything back? You're not going to have your perks at that point, but you're alive, and that is certainly better than nothing, as Queen takes shots down the line as Circle 4 is about to come to a close.
Map 1 winners, Selly and Shifty. They're over here finding some more on the other side. That's Destroy and Zunde going down, so team wipe. They'll go out in 14th position. 3 eliminations right now for Selly. They ended map number 1 with 11 eliminations total. Looking to maybe go back-to-back. Well, I guess not technically back-to-back, but at least be our first sort of 2-time winners. Take home another $1,000. We don't call Shifty the cash bandit for nothing. Definitely wants to be able to kind of milk it for all it's worth. Strong positioning to be able to be your number 1 seed going into day 2. But you can see the bounty has him here, as they are able to find both of them. Oh my gosh. Amelia Rose, Adrian, I hate to say it, but slammed.
Slammed. We'll see you later. Prep for map 4. You can watch some VODs while you wait, because Selly and Shifty are probably going to be the last duo you would ever want to encounter. And well, they're the last duo that Adrian's team encountered, at least in this map. Now, last time we saw these two in the end game, they had, I think, like 10 kills almost, like a piece. It was something ridiculous for map 1, which ended up netting them 33 points. They're sitting at 40.7 after an okay-ish, leaning on the lackluster map 2. You know, you got 7.7 points, but compared to their first map, not great. But now they are in this end game, and this is where those multipliers really start to come into effect for these teams. You only have 11 of those teams left, and it's gonna be that 2nd to 8th place where the 1.3 multiplier comes in. So if you're alive now, you want to try and get one more, because Dandro, you know those multipliers can make or break placements.
Yeah, and especially when you're like some of these squads who are kind of ending the game with, you know, we saw in that last game, Swisham and Almond, they ended with 17 eliminations. So being able to kind of use that 1.5 multiplier, they went from 20th to 2nd. So you have to be able to recognize that. And you can see Peachy is here. You know, a little bit of a sticky situation. Knows that there's somebody across. Is just getting absolutely peppered. Tries to throw the Semtex to buy some time to get on in. Is going to be able to. We talked about how important it is to play your life, and Peachy is just being an example of that right here. Holding this rooftop, not letting this player bully her. She's kind of just trying to weave her way in and out. Can she be able to find this elimination? No more plates. This is rough.
This is really rough. I mean, even with that tempered perk, you just don't have any plates to work with. Does at least find one there, which will help a bit. But, I mean, you're surrounded. Yes, you're in circle. But at this point, you are trying to stay alive through one more team wipe. There are 9 teams remaining. The multiplier ticks up when there's 8 teams remaining. So PG, the name of the game is to keep your head down and keep your health bar above 0. Selly and Shifty right into the action, no surprise. Cover with a bit of smoke to get into the convenience store, and some broken armor will allow the entry on the side of Shifty. But it looks like actually not going for that full engage. Happy to just push those players down and get themselves into a more favorable position, which is a very smart play because look at exactly where that circle's pulling.
Yeah, I like this a lot. They burn those gas masks in order to make this play, and so they're going to take a little bit of damage coming up here to make it happen. But they're going to be able to kind of ride these stairs alongside the zone. They will have maximum height position, and I think this is really beautiful as they find one. The shots come out. Selly and Shifty just putting on a clinic of how to be able to get there. You see Shifty's on a 10 kill streak up at the top. That was a door that went down. I don't know if Lucky is anywhere nearby, but all right, they're on 16 right now. They're looking to take this map home, go up $1,000 richer, and potentially set a new record for points in a map.
They are looking phenomenal right now. Can they get their second map win in just 3 maps? We are about to find out. There's only going to be 6 other players. They very well might be one of the few duos remaining with that player spread. So if you can isolate, pick them off one by one, you are also in an excellent position as that team wipe comes in. So many kills for this duo in a prime position to close it out here. Just 5 other players, 3 other teams. Excellent job so far, but where is that circle going to pull? I'm very curious to see. We'll find out right now. And well, it's going to be heading straight east of them. They're going to... Oh, excuse me. That was the train. I was wondering. I was like, what's that dot on the minimap I'm looking at? That's not right. Let's take a look, though. Queen's Shadows is underneath them, and this is actually where the low ground can be so beneficial unless they don't jump in time. But the smoke goes out. The chaos is in. They're fighting for their lives and straight into the water to stay alive for the moment.
Little crazy. Like, I mean, look at this. There's this person lurking in the shadows, not able to find it. Second place.
No surprise.
No surprise. Sally. Shifty, I mean Katie. Like, let's be honest here. The map number 2 was a little bit wonky for them. Map number 3, they lock it on in. Another $1,000 in the pocket with 21.
My goodness, my gracious. Map 1, Selly and Shifty. Map 3, Selly and Shifty. And if you thought people were going to perhaps start to eat away at their lead, well, think again. This is going to propel them into a very comfortable first place, which is where they've been this entire tournament with the wrap of Map 3. And as you said it, that's $2,000 for them now because every single map has money on the line. And, well, since they've won 2 of them, Dandro, cool $1,000 richer, and they have got to be feeling good. That performance was excellent.